Hey, you're watching Half Asian Tarot Queen, and I'm Elisa, and I'm doing a special reading because today is the 222 portal. I don't actually really even know what that means, but the energies for me feel super, super strong today. I actually just did this whole, starting with this deck, just FYI. I did this whole sound aura cleanse just now because I'm it's just so, it's so intense. So yeah, I'm not sure what the 222 portal is supposed to mean, but one thing that I will say that has been sort of coming to me is just, it's sort of like this portal, and I've been doing these readings that have been kind of alluding to this sort of emergence of this sort of new world order, which I feel has been manifesting all around, I mean, there's a lot going on in the world, there's obviously this war that could happen at any time, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's generally, it's all about resources and who controls them, and this new power dynamic that's emerging, and it's sort of suddenly the old rules no longer apply, and this new order is coming online, and this thing that has been coming to me, or today, is just sort of it's everyone's kind of gone through this totally spiritual moment with COVID and the shutdown, and just the lockdown and everything, and it's just worldwide, and so it's sort of it's almost the whole world has just shifted their vibration, and now that's kind of having all these ripple effects, and as we start to re-engage, there's all this friction that's coming up from it, and I mean, this thing that I'm observing to be super evident just in my own environment, and I think in people that I know, it's just sort of this thing about in the past, it's everyone's been so checked out and so dispersed and so just distracted by all the distractions in the world, that it's whoever's the loudest is who breaks through. So it's just as a result of that, the path to success just by default became being the loudest, biggest bully, and the people who would just keep repeating the same thing over and over, whether it's true or not, and just doubling down on getting their way or the highway. I mean, that was kind of this path to success that kind of emerged from that order. But now everyone's kind of pulled into themselves, and people aren't distracted in the same way that we were before the pandemic, and people are more spiritual, and so suddenly these tactics of bullying and oppressing people and just being the loudest person and telling lies and whatever, suddenly that tactic, which was incredibly successful in the world prior, it's not having the same impact. And suddenly it's everyone's kind of waking up and taking their power back. And I mean, I tend to make analogies in politics which upset people, so hopefully that won't be the case, but it's just sort of the Ukraine, where it's just sort of the people are no, we're gonna we're going to stand up for ourselves, even though it's like hopeless. Like in any other time, it was just like they would just be like intimidated and just be like, oh well, we give up. But like that's not what's happening. And it's like, I think that's just like a reflection of the larger world, and just sort of this change that's happening. So to me, like that's what I'm getting as this 222 portal, where it's just sort of like we're going through this gateway, and like a lot of people have like worked on themselves and healed on their vibrations and gotten like more spiritual, and like, I mean, you can see all around us that like people are like on this more spiritual channel. And so it's just like, it's like those people are going and like building this tribe, and then like the people who aren't on that channel are doing something else, you know. And so it's just sort of like this new good versus evil, like a new expression of it that's happening. So I don't know where that came from, and it was really long and rambling, but so at the bottom of the deck we got wonders. It's interesting because it's like this shows like a crystal and the universe, and it's like all about like, you know, tuning into different frequencies. And it's like, that's what I was kind of just talking about. But this card talks about like something really beautiful and wonderful being just like right around the corner, and you're about to find out what it is, you know. So it's just like, that's kind of maybe what's on the other side of this portal that we're like going through. And right now it's like very chaotic because we're going through this huge shift, but right around the corner is something really great, you know. And then we got wisdom, we got happiness, and we got power. So it's interesting because there's all these cards of water. I mean, they're all water. So it's just like, I feel like this is a very emotional shift that's happening. So like, I did this reading a couple of days ago, and it was like, I think it was about like lancing the boil, or it might have been the day before. I'll figure out which one it is and I'll link it. But it was all about not getting distracted by the whirling, it might have been this whirling tornado of drama, you know, and like work on yourself, focus on yourself, because there's this just crazy chaos all around, and you can really get derailed by that. So like that's a thing to really be careful about right now, because there's a lot of emotion that's being released as we go through this shift, but also there's like wisdom. So tune into that. And then we also have happiness, and we have power. So it's just sort of like, this is a good change, and it's a change of like empowerment, and like finally coming into your own happiness, and maybe understanding what was like blocking that before, you know, but being empowered to make the change that's going to bring that about. And it's right around the corner, just on the other side of this portal. So I hope this is like a good message for people. I'm trying to like navigate through the shift myself. And yeah, like I said, I just like did this sound bath because it's like so unsettling. Like the energy is like very unsettling right now. Okay, so I'm going to the intuitive goddess. Oh my gosh. All right, so this fell out upside down. And I'm going to pick a few cards from here. It's funny because like right when I was talking about how the energy was unsettling, this fell out upside down. And it's the Warrior of Wands, which is kind of like the Knight of Wands upside down. And so that's kind of like really passionate energy, but it's upside down. So it's like almost like it's like crazy. Like it's like psycho energy of just like very intense, very passionate, but like crazy, you know, and like that's coming through. I mean, and this, she's like this fierce, she's like this fierce warrior, and she's like going to battle, but she's not in her right mind, you know? So it's like, you gotta like sidestep that as this shift happens, you know, like I said, whirling tornado of drama. So it's like, stay home, focus on yourself, like, don't get sucked into the drama, because this is gonna pass. But you don't want to get derailed from your path by all of that that's going around. Okay. All right, so at the bottom we got Spirit of Swords. So this just came through in the reading I did the other day about Lancing the Boil, which I'll put here when I started singing George Michael and stuff. But the Spirit of Swords, it's like the King of Swords in the traditional deck. So that can be a harsh truth that's coming out. But in this deck, it's like a card of like freedom and like liberating yourself from all the things that are like not in alignment with your highest good. And this bringing about this era of freedom and independence. So that's at the bottom of the deck, and that's like right around the corner because it came out right under the Wonders card. But you might have to be cutting yourself loose from this energy of just like crazy, psychotic, like not grounded, not in alignment with reality, and like very passionate and maybe entitled and feeling like they deserve whatever it is that they want, but not really being sort of in alignment with reality, you know. And then we have this Queen of Cups, which, you know, this speaks to like sort of being balanced and being compassionate and sort of like maybe sidestepping this energy and not really engaging it, focusing on being centered in yourself. And we have the Two of Swords after that, which this speaks to sort of like dissonance and blockage and like being blindfolded and not really seeing things the way they really are. So it's just sort of like this Queen of Cups is really centered and really like benevolent and good, you know, but surrounded by this blockage and this like crazy psychotic person, you know. That's like in her, that is her environment, you know. And so, you know, I think that kind of like speaks to like maybe her having to cut herself free from this and establish her own independence. Or it goes into the Three of Cups of just like really figuring out who your tribe is and connecting with that. So it's just like this queen is ultimately, she's going to find her tribe, but she's going to have to do that by cutting herself free from maybe this person who's like not really living in reality, is kind of like blocking everyone and dragging everyone down because they're just like not willing to accept reality for what it is, and they're just super toxic and just like they just won't adapt, you know. The world is changing and we all have to adapt with it, and it's like it's not really anybody's fault, like everyone has to do it. But like, you know, in this thing, it looks like this Queen of Cups has been sort of blocked because there's just really stuck, just super stuck and psychologically imbalanced energy around her. So, but this kind of really speaks to like breaking free of that. So like, yeah, again, I'm referencing that reading about Lancing the Boil that just happened a couple days ago, because that seems to be like a step that's required to go, you know, as we go through this portal. So, okay, so I'm going through the Everyday Tarot, pick some more cards. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. And see what we get. Let's kind of like on the ground. Oh my gosh. This is really like kind of like a climactic. I mean, I think we'll look back at this moment as being like this profound turning point later on. But right now it's just sort of like, it feels just like profound drama and chaos, and it's hard to have perspective on it, you know. But I think later on when we look back, we'll see it. Okay, so we have the Seven of Swords at the bottom of the deck. So this is a card of like deceit, you know, not being in alignment with reality. I accidentally dropped it, and underneath it was the Nine of Wands. So there's this wounded warrior who's just like been just run through the ringer over whatever this lie is, you know, and like it fell out right under this, like having to cut yourself free from it, because it's just like this person is just done. Like they don't want to deal with it anymore. It's just been sucking them dry, and it's been going on forever, and it's just like enough. Like it's time to like begin again, you know. And then we have the Two of Cups, which is this like soulmate connection, you know. So it's like we're moving towards that, but there's like all this anxiety, probably from having to go through all this drama, and this person is like tied up and blindfolded and gagged and has been run through the ringer over whatever this is, you know. But that's followed by the King of Swords, which, you know, again, like that's the same card, you know, this harsh truth, and having to cut themselves free from whatever this lie is, and that ultimately leading to the Sun, which like this just came out in another reading that I just did, which I'll link, but it's just sort of like happiness, fulfillment, abundance, like everything, you know. But in order to get there, like you're gonna have to cut yourself free from this toxic crap, you know. Like we gotta like hack through the weeds to make it. So yeah, this is a really, really powerful moment in time. But yeah, a lot of emotions being released, and I think it seems like this came through in another reading where it's just like you feel like you know, like you need to get like busy doing something, but the best thing to do is to not, you know, to like just let things unfold and to like work on your own self, because that's going to be the path of least resistance. So we have Dragon's Hoard on the bottom, protecting the future, and we have Fool's Embrace, transmuting pain, and we have a tidy house, clarity and organization. So again, we like need to cut ourselves free from whatever this is, because we need to build a foundation on the truth, on reality. Focus on like transmuting your own pain, healing your own vibration. Don't get sucked into whatever this is that's being released. Like that's for whoever is, you know, putting that out there to worry about, you know. Focus on yourself so that you can be like on the right frequency, and protect your own future and what you're bringing to yourself, attracting to yourself, because there's this new beginning on it's coming through. It's right here. So you just, I think the thing is, just don't get derailed, because it's a really pivotal moment and it's hard to see that right now. This is your clarity, you know, just like focus on your own stuff, and just relax, and just give yourself time to have clarity so that you can like move through the changes efficiently and attract what it is that you're going to need to like move on to the next thing. And don't worry about whatever's going on around you, because it's like crazy. I mean, like when you turn on the news right now, it's all about like, this could be World War III, and it's like, don't go into a tailspin over that. Like, it's the wrong direction. focus on the positive and focus on what you've got going on, and be part of the change that you want to see.